Hello and welcome to round 2 of the Parenting Roundabout podcast. I'm Terry Morrow and I'm here with Catherine Haleko.
Hello.
Usually on this podcast we talk about parenting issues, but once a week, Catherine and I like to get together to discuss TV, movies, books, and other entertainment topics because it's nice to talk about something other than parenting for a change. This week, we are continuing with our watch of the second season of Veronica Mars with one episode from the second season. One very, very weird and unnecessary episode from the second season, the 18th. But first, two episodes of Dancing with the Stars. For this week, we watched the one from Tuesday, September 22nd, and the one from last night, September 28th. So they threw that Tuesday episode in, it screwed us up, but now we get to take these two together and see that I do think Tyra calmed down a little bit.
Yeah, maybe a little, but she still is with the just inane comments and questions that really waste time that they do not have.
The inane comments and questions have to go. She wasn't rushing the judges, but then there was one fewer person, so maybe that had something to do with it. But
right.
I resent her being the centerpiece of every intro, like it's the Tyra show in which there is dancing. Stop that. And I also had to laugh on Monday night's episode when she came out and there was wild applause, which of course is canned because there is no audience.
Right.
And she stood there and milked it. And I'm like, lady, there is nobody there. Are you seriously going to make the technicians do a swell of applause while you stand there?
Apparently so.
We want those seconds back later. Yes, we will.
Yeah.
Come on.
And we all know that there's no audience. It's not a secret.
And I mean, do they hear the applause there in the ballroom, or they actually play? I guess they're playing it maybe to make the couples feel like they have an audience.
They must be. Yeah.
It's just weird. It bothers me every time I notice it because it's like, this is creepy. This is like an empty auditorium and there's all this applause and screaming and laughing and booing and wow. I guess it would be weird without it, but it's weird with it also.
Yes, for sure.
I also noticed, comparing the 2 weeks, that on the Tuesday episode, they kept flashing the camera up into the rafters where the dancers are standing.
And they're all on their phones.
And they were all on their phones and they weren't paying attention. They were talking amongst themselves and it looked really bad. And I saw some people complaining about it online. And boy, Monday night, they were all watching and clapping. So clearly the memo went out. We're going to put the cameras on you at these timestamps. Look like you're interested.
Look alive, please.
Yeah. It was too bad. I mean, if they didn't know they were going to be on camera, that was a bad thing. I'm glad that they rectified that.
Yeah, about the dances. So on Tuesday night, there were 4 cha-chas and 5 foxtrots.
Wow.
Like, what? Why is this happening? And then on Monday night, on Disney night, the only thing that was, there were 3 quick steps. Mm-hmm. And then there were 2 Viennese waltz, and the last one, they just called it a waltz, so I don't know if that's different or what.
Yeah. But there wasn't much to that dance of any sort. So.
There really wasn't, and they, raved about it. I didn't understand
They dropped their 6 and 7 panels under the desk, and nobody wanted to crawl out underneath them, so 8 for everybody.
Yeah, so I didn't understand why we were getting so many of the same thing in the Tuesday show.
Right.
And some of them were one right after the other, too. They weren't even randomized.
I wonder if they're the easiest dances for beginners.
They must be, yeah.
But you still, in terms of variety for an audience watching, maybe not so much fun.
Right.
Yeah.
And all the cha-chas, to me, had a very disco feel to them. And to the point where Charles, who unfortunately then got eliminated, but he had a jacket that was like a mirror ball jacket. But unfortunately, that was the end of the road for Charles. These old basketball players.
Yes.
It's not It doesn't.
I mean, it was not undeservedly so. So you can't feel bad about that outcome. But it's also hard not to think that they kept Carole around for another week because they had already paid for Circle of Life. Like, we got to get all our Lion songs out. Come on, she's got to stay. And then once that was done, we're finished with her, boy.
Goodbye.
How low can we score?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a 3.
I know, it was brutal. That was just, it seemed like, welp, all right, we've exhausted our responsibility here. Go away.
Yeah, 3 weeks was our limit.
As much as I winced at her involvement and as glad as I am that she had come to the end of her run, she really wasn't as embarrassing as I thought she was going to be. She did okay for herself, I think.
Mm-hmm.
She was, bearable.
Yeah.
There's certainly been worse contestants. So,
right.
And off you go.
Seeing Pasha fully commit to playing looking like the Cowardly Lion from Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
They both did, I mean.
He'll be joining Emma in the spousal support section next week.
That's right.
Yes, that was a completely ridiculous outfits, but they had that many weeks worth of lion stuff, so they got it all done.
They had a tiger song, a cat song, and a lion song, and that's pretty much where it ends.
From here, it would have been slim pickings, so good thing. But
I don't remember in past years Disney Night bothering me because of the way it's covers of these songs that are so familiar.
Yes.
And it's so noticeable.
It really is.
You've heard these songs a million times.
Yeah.
And they have the rights to why can't they play the actual
I don't
song?
understand. It's like they have that Moana song.
It's like about it.
It sounds a tiny bit like Alihikavalo, but the pace is off. There's something that's just not right about it.
Yeah. And I felt like that for most of them. Yes. So it was kind of just distracting.
It is. It definitely is. And there's still so many dancers. We're still at that phase of the competition where it's like, oh yeah, that person.
Oh yeah, I forgot about them. Mm-hmm.
I have my couple of people I'm interested in, and everybody else, oh, this person is still on. Okay. Right. And I'd say on Monday night, the dancing was fairly decent. I mean, there's a couple of ringers, but this is definitely a bunch that is slowly learning how to dance.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of fun. If it wasn't like 14 of them all at once.
Right.
If it was like 7 people learning how to dance, that might be a little better. Yeah. But, so it's just like a whole bunch of, well, that wasn't bad. Nice try.
Or better than last week.
That's right. Yeah, Justina definitely wasn't better on Monday than Tuesday. That Charleston was a little, I have to agree, it was a little low energy. It was fun to watch, but there wasn't.
But when you're laying flat on your belly on the ground for 30 seconds of the dance, no, I get what you're trying to do because they tried to make it look like they were flying.
Yes.
But I didn't think that worked.
That was choreography that made me think there was something about this dance that she couldn't do. So he had to put in a bunch of sort of mugging and things like that. So whether, it's just too fast or too hard at this point, or she hurt herself in some way, or she had some other commitments and so she couldn't practice as much. There was some story to that, I think. Because she's done very well.
She was much, much better in the past.
And Sasha kind of looked when they were giving the judges scores and stuff. He was sort of like, yeah, okay, on to next week. So I don't know what the story was there, but hopefully she'll have something better next time. And Neve, I was very happy with him both times. Really enjoy watching him, much to my surprise. Let's see. Is anybody else particularly good or bad? Anne is not, like Carole, not as embarrassing as I thought.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But not train wrecky.
Yeah. I think Sky, I'm a little surprised.
Yeah.
That she's not doing better. She's so adorable. But
yes, and it seems awful to say anything. Not nice.
Yeah. Right. She's so young.
I think this is not her thing.
We've seen young women do really well before, so.
Right. I think she just doesn't, I don't know, have the dance ability or the comfort with it. She just looks a little skittish. And I wish she was, I don't know. Jeannie is very cute.
She is. She's a lot of fun.
But I have to say, Brandon's hair, what on earth? It's like the second worst hairstyle on Dancing with the Stars on a man after the man bun craze that went by a while back. Just got this little...
So it wasn't the gray that...
It was that not the gray. It was, I've noticed it the last few times, is just, it's just a silly looking haircut.
Well, Bruno had to let himself go gray because you can't go to a salon or something.
I saw somebody online saying maybe it's a subtle tribute to Tom.
That would be cute. I like that.
Yeah, let's just think that. Carrie Ann looked fully ridiculous with her pink hair and crown. But
pink hair, crown, pink dress. The worst.
She's looked worse.
Johnny kind of redeemed himself with his Mulan dance. I didn't love it as much as the judges did, but he certainly scored a lot higher than he had in the previous 2 weeks.
Yeah. I don't know. I expected more from him. Yeah. Maybe it's going to come. This is too early to be doing really well, which is why I wasn't too upset that Justina didn't do great, because it's like she did too well the first few weeks. She needs to have a little slump so that then she can come back. I hope. That's the way I hope it's going to go.
Right.
And they sure seem to like that Bachelorette, don't they?
Mm-hmm. But wasn't she the one who has a lot of dance experience?
Yes, she does. Yes. And Neve also has some dance experience, I believe.
Oh, he does?
Yeah. And he looks it. He knows how to move. Yeah. So, I thought AJ was better on Monday night than he has been previously. Mm-hmm. That was a cute number.
That was cute.
And I still enjoy Nelly, even though I don't think he's going to go that much further, but...
I know, but every week he brings a new pair of shoes.
That's true.
Derek wants to keep him around just to see his shoes.
That could be what keeps him around.
Yeah, I do like him.
Yeah, I throw him some votes. This really is kind of an enjoyable season in terms of the people in it. Mm-hmm. If there's just that one unfortunate element that needs a lot of work, it's. Yeah, she's gone from maybe a 3 to a 5, but still.
Right.
Less Tyra, please.
Less Tyra.
More of everything else. Mm-hmm. It's too bad that this wasn't a season with the normal hosting.
Right.
But we'll see. Maybe she'll pick up. Maybe she's taking hints. So, the aforementioned 18th episode of the second season of Veronica Mars is titled I Am God, where it should have been titled I Am a Bleepin' Waste of Time.
Oh my gosh. It was so weird and such a hot mess.
It really was.
The whole thing was basically dream sequences of Veronica having dreams about all the different people on the bus.
Yes.
And using the information from her subconscious to investigate various threads that may help solve this crime. So, talk about lazy.
That's a sort of idea that probably sounded really good in the writer's room. Her subconscious will be done, but in actual practice, with the same cruddy bus set over and over again, with different stuff going by the windows and different gotcha moments, it was just severely not good. And silly. Yeah. And... why is she suddenly thinking of this? Why is she suddenly having bad dreams now? Why is she suddenly making these connections now? It's not like anything new has been going on, particularly.
Right. It's months later. And they could have been having a, case of the week about each of these people who we've never met before.
Correct.
That were on the bus, except for Meg.
Yeah.
So, on the podcast...
Veronica Mars Investigations.
Yes. The legal expert, Lo Dodds, did say that basically her theory was that, Veronica had been reading all of Meg's emails, and that is where all of this came from, which it helps a little, in terms of explaining what is happening. But you have, I did not get that from the episode. I only got it from her.
Right.
So.
It just is such a time waster to get to the end of the season. This is a reminder of the time in TV where seasons had to be 22 or 23 episodes, and you had to fill that time no matter what. And if you have a season-long arc, you can't get to the end of the arc until episode 22 or 23. It's a lot of filler. And this was just the filleriest filler that ever fillered.
Right.
And
because it was a whole lot of dead ends.
And then in the other, I guess, the plot of the week of kids getting diagnosed with anxiety, which honestly, it seems to me every young person in Neptune could get a completely legit generalized anxiety order diagnosis because they live in Neptune. Come on.
Yes, exactly.
But as I believe was mentioned on the podcast, that does not necessarily get you out of taking tests, especially if you are Miss Snooty Mick, I got into Stanfordson. I think you can take your test, sweetie. Why do you want to even be exempted from it if you're so outstanding? She was awful, and I don't think we've ever seen her before.
No.
She was a previously unmet awful person.
Mm-hmm.
They just pulled her out of a locker somewhere. We need another awful teenager. Okay, wait, let's see. We've had a lot of blondes. Let's get a brunette this time. Okay, there you go, honey. And I continue to, as I believe they talked about on the Veronica Mars investigations also, I continue to not understand why Veronica thinks that the Canes would give her a scholarship, even if they had to cancel the scholarship to avoid giving it to her. She ain't exactly in good with that family.
No.
Number two, how is there even still a Canes scholarship when the Canes have decamped completely? Right. And number three, why does Miss... How do I know how much my semester at sea cost? What do I care about money?
What does she need
a scholarship for? I mean, I can see if it's like some big prestigious scholarship that's going to set her up in life. Is the Kane scholarship that noteworthy? I mean, I guess he has a big company, but why is it important to you?
Yeah.
Go away. That whole scholarship thing just seems like, are we still talking about that? Really? We're still
I know,
talking,
and
that's still a
because
thing?
we know that Veronica's not going to Stanford.
I know. When she opened that envelope and she's so happy, I said to my husband, she's not going to Stanford. There's a third season of this show. It doesn't take place in Palo Alto.
It takes place at Hearst College, I am quite sure.
Oh, poor Veronica.
Yes.
I did.
Another, just small aside on the Kane family was on one of Keith's information gathering dates that he had.
Yeah.
The woman he was with was talking about the whole season 1 situation of, Keith pursuing Jake Kane in the murder of Lily.
Right.
And this woman refers to Jake as that sweet Jake Kane. I'm like, no one ever called this guy sweet.
Who is this you're talking about?
You may have thought that he didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
But when has he ever been known as sweet?
I think that's quite ridiculous. Oh, dear. I was so very relieved when it became apparent that Keith was just going on these dates to try to get some evidence. Although, I'm not sure I see how that all fits together.
Yeah,
just going on random dates until he hits somebody who happens to be the receptionist for the person who's handing out bogus prescriptions or bogus diagnoses.
Yeah, it seems like a reach.
There's some connective tissue that I think got left out on the cutting room floor, perhaps. But at least, thank goodness, Keith, he's not actually planning to date any of these women.
Right.
Nor apparently the school counselor who they got out of mothballs and brought out.
Right, brought her back.
Remember her?
Mm-hmm.
So weird.
Mm-hmm.
I did enjoy the adorableness of Keith going to get his coat and finding Veronica in the closet and not saying a word.
In the principal's closet.
And also there is a certain inevitability of Logan and Wallace buddying up.
Mm-hmm.
I had never thought of them as a pair that had not had any together time on this show. Never occurred to me, but there could be potential there.
Yeah.
For one thing, they both are very fond of Veronica, clearly. But, Logan could use somebody less complex in his life to be a friend with. Although, boy, that every time they have to show a bit of that horrible TV show about the Eccles family, just kind of twists a knife. Wallace could have turned that off, Really, man? You're just going to really sit there in the dude's hotel room and watch that?
I thought he was going to turn it off.
Yes, I'm a little disappointed in him for that.
Me too.
Me too. If I was Logan, I would have perhaps broken the egg over his head at that moment. Are you kidding me?
You should know better, Wallace. Come on.
But interesting to see where that may go. Or it may go nowhere, because this show is not exactly what you would call tightly plotted.
Right.
Or oftentimes plotted at all. So, anything else we want to say about that, I would say train wreck of an episode, except I guess it's a bus wreck of an episode.
A bus crash of an episode.
Which seemed to throw a whole bunch of stuff against the wall to see if any of it will wind up being. Plus which we now know that Woody paid people off because there was a finger in their sandwich or something.
And not nary a sighting of Jackie or Terrence.
That's right. There was, what is it? There's some movie. It's some Hercule Poirot movie, I think, where he is at a scene of a crime or something, and he says, "There are too many clues in this room." That's what reminds me of this episode. There's just, which of these things are we supposed to care about?
Right.
Veronica, take some sleeping pills, please. We beg you. A good sedative. I bet there's...
Knock yourself out.
Go to the person who's giving the bogus diagnoses. I bet you can get a prescription. It'll be fine.
Exactly.
Well...
Oh, dear.
Next week, we'll talk about the next episode of Veronica Mars Season 2, number 19, which I am very, very regretful to tell you is titled Nevermind the Buttocks.
Yeah.
Would you like to say my line?
That does not sound promising.
It does not. It sounds so much otherwise. And we'll watch. We're still in on Dancing with the Stars. We'll give it another episode and see how we feel.
We can't quit you.
And that is going to be it for round 2 today. Please subscribe to our Parenting Roundabout podcast so you won't miss any of our episodes. We have something new for you every weekday. As always, you can find recaps, links, and an opportunity to comment on our website at parentingroundabout.com. Goodbye, Catherine.
Bye, Terry.
Goodbye, everybody.